Well, it finally happened. First Buddy Elon Musk has officially rage quit the Trump administration, and in true Elon fashion, he couldn't leave quietly. He had to cry wee all the way home. After stepping down from his ridiculous and unnecessary post as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, Musk took to Twitter to torch Trump's prized big and beautiful budget bill, calling it, quote, a disgusting abomination, which also happens to perfectly describe his Cybertruck. According to Musk, the big beautiful bill is pork stuffed and will blow a $2.5 trillion hole in the deficit. The Congressional Budget Office, always here to rain on your parade, puts that number closer to $3.8 trillion. So it's worse. Just to make sure his tantrum went fully public, Elon unleashed a tweet that reads more like a deranged Yelp review for democracy. Quote, shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Didn't you vote for it, Elon? Shame on you. You know you did wrong. Keep in mind, this is also coming from a guy who once live-streamed a Tesla crash test and called it innovation. So what you're witnessing isn't righteous outrage. It's the real-time hemorrhaging of a weak man's ego. This also comes just days after Elon's farewell press conference, where he claimed he was stepping back to focus on his businesses. Nothing screams private sector grind like government-funded rockets and AI experiments with your toddler's name. But in a twist that makes sense in this reality show called Democracy, Trump immediately undercut the goodbye by saying Elon's not really leaving, but that he'll be back and forth. Trump's reportedly questioning whether Elon's whole Doge department was, quote, all bullshit. To be fair, that is the most accurate government performance review in recent memory. The White House is still hugging the bill tight, like it's their build-a-budget baby, then launched a tax calculator to demonstrate to Americans how much they'll allegedly save right before they Google how to feed my family of 4 on a rotisserie chicken for a week. Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson, trying to play nice, said, with all due respect, my friend Elon is terribly wrong, which is Southern for bless your heart. With all due disrespect, Elon's throwing a fit because Daddy Trump didn't validate his Excel spreadsheet, while Johnson keeps burrowing deeper and deeper up Trump's chalupa. Elon bankrolled the GOP's 2024 victory and swore he was done throwing money at politics, but now he's threatening lawmakers on Twitter, warning them to vote against it or be voted out. And yes, Elon's meltdown is probably a distraction, because his week isn't going well outside of the budget fight either. A New York Times expose revealed that while Musk was pouring millions into Trump's re-election, he may or may not have also been running on a pharmaceutical playlist that includes ketamine, ecstasy, psychedelic mushrooms, and Adderall. Basically a Burning Man charcuterie of controlled substances. He allegedly carries a daily pill box with about 20 doses, just tweaking through the White House like a human pharmacy with a clearance badge. Let's recap. The richest man alive may have been tripping balls on federal property while running a fake government department, casually exposing millions of our private information he accessed illegally, decided to get the hell out of Dodge, aka Doge, and the administration's official stance is, we're happy to have him go, while Trump dismissed the entire thing with a shrug and swears they'll remain friends, says every toxic couple after an embarrassingly public breakup. Musk also appeared with a massive black eye, which he immediately blamed on his son X. Not his ex, his child named X. The same one who reportedly told Trump to his face, you're not the real president. That X. Elon says he asked the 5-year-old to punch him in the face, and didn't really feel anything until it bruised, but multiple sources say the injury came from a physical altercation at the White House after Elon shoved another official during a closed-door meeting. But there's no investigation, no consequences, just another billionaire melting down on taxpayer time with a pretty little bruise that was long overdue. X really does mark the spot. While the door was still swinging shut behind Elon, Trump opened up another one. During the same Oval Office press event, Trump was asked if he'd consider pardoning Sean Diddy Combs, who's currently on trial for racketeering and sex trafficking.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I would certainly look at the facts.
If you have money, headlines, or history with him, Trump will always find a way to look at the facts, especially when those facts come with bottle service and a shared photo op. Trump's relationship with Diddy goes way back. The parties, the photo ops, the late 90s bromance between two men obsessed with money, women, and their own reflections. Trump was the first big-name celebrity to show up at Diddy's 1998 birthday bash. Ivanka once joked about her dad taking calls from Diddy before Grammys like it was just another day in the Trump penthouse. And when Diddy faced charges for violently assaulting a music rival executive, Trump's response was nothing short of brand loyalty. He said Puffy is a visionary. He'll get it solved, and I'll be damned if he didn't. Trump insists they haven't spoken in years and claims Diddy stopped liking him over politics.
I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing.
Being the man of character that he is, Trump said,
if I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Right. Let's talk about that. The last time he was president, Trump used the pardon power like a personal monopoly card, except in this version, the jail is real, and only the poor go directly to it. If you've got the cash or the clout, just skip right past go and collect all of our hard-earned tax-paying dollars. In 2020, Trump pardoned Paul Manafort, his own campaign chairman, after his conviction for bank and tax fraud. Then he pardoned a very long list of loyalists, donors, and criminals who stroked his ego on air. On January 20th of this year, also day one of his second term, Trump issued full, complete, and unconditional pardons to over 1,500 people convicted for their roles in the January 6th insurrection, which left 5 people dead and at least 140 police officers injured. This week, Trump also pardoned Virginia Sheriff Scott Jenkins, who was literally selling law enforcement badges for cash. Jenkins made more than $75,000 in what the DOJ called a cash for badges scheme. Think about that for a second. He was selling law enforcement authority to the highest bidder. No oversight, no background checks, just pay up and play cop. Jenkins is a MAGA loudmouth, spouting anti-immigrant hate and pledging loyalty to Trump like it was his only job. And in the end, it kind of was. Because in Trump's world, loyalty beats law every single time. And it's not just about the pardons, it's also who's handing them out. Trump appointed Ed Martin as the new pardon attorney, a role that's never been filled by a political operative before. Martin is openly MAGA, unapologetically biased, and completely on board. He celebrated Jenkins' pardon with a post on Twitter that read, "No MAGA left behind." That's just confirmation that if you're in their club, you're untouchable. And if you're not, well, you're French fried fucked. In 1996, Alice Marie Johnson was sentenced to life in prison for her role in a cocaine trafficking ring in Memphis, Tennessee, but she received a full pardon after Kim Kardashian called for her release. Then earlier this year, just for funsies, Trump appointed her to serve as his pardon czar. Give it up for good old boy checks and balances. Do the crime, skip the time, and collect a federal paycheck. The entire pardon process has been turned into a rewards program for political loyalty. People convicted of violent crimes, even against police, are eligible for a get-out-of-jail-free card as long as they show up in the right crimson-colored hat. And to fully round out the Diddy-Trump celebrity circle, rapper 50 Cent also jumped into the mix. He posted about Diddy's possible pardon headline and vowed to personally reach out to Trump to make sure Combs doesn't receive clemency. But it's not because of the dozens of alleged crimes here. It's because once upon a time, Diddy talked shit about Trump.
White men like Trump need to be banished.
This is how 50 put it. Donald doesn't take well to disrespect, and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him. So, if federal racketeering charges aren't enough to keep Diddy in prison, maybe Trump's eternally bruised ego will finally tip the scale. Or maybe not, because as Jimmy Kimmel put it, Trump has a soft spot for fraud. Whether Diddy is convicted or not has yet to be seen, but the outcome feels less about justice and more about political proximity. In this 2025 version of America, guilt is negotiable. What matters is who you brunch with, who you golf with, who you post bail for. This truly is the land of the free, if you cover the fee. And I've always said that. Now, let's talk about something that actually went right this week. In Florida, where the state works overtime trying to silence community pride, the people found a louder and much prettier way to speak. Last year, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis banned the long-standing tradition conducted by the city of lighting bridges in rainbow colors for Pride Month. Apparently, LED lights are too radical and rainbows are far too scary, even for the manliest of men. So last year, activists did what they do best. They showed up with flashlights, phone lights, whatever light they had, and turned the bridge into rainbow-colored steel themselves. However, in Jacksonville this year, officials attempted to one-up their own homophobia with a new move by literally pulling up the Main Street drawbridge as the Pride March grew closer, intentionally blocking and preventing the group from crossing. This was a true power play back in medieval times. This year, the Pride March was forced to turn around, but you bet your sweet little asses they didn't leave. They marched to the nearby Acosta Bridge, turning that bad boy into a rainbow instead. Did you see that, DeSantis? Block your bridge to Terabithia all you want, but you'll never block Pride. There happens to be a very good reason we light things up in June. Pride didn't start with a parade. It started with pushback. It goes all the way back to a gay bar in New York called Stonewall Inn. In 1969, black trans folks and drag queens had to literally fight for the right to exist. And on this particular night, during yet another police raid, they didn't run. The entire queer community was fed the fuck up with more violence from police, and they were tired of being pushed around and shoved into corners. So, they pushed back. And it wasn't peaceful. But they weren't exactly asking for peace. In fact, they weren't even asking for pride. They were demanding the same basic human right as everyone else, the right to survive, live, and be seen. That night sparked a movement that changed everything for queer liberation, not just in the city, but around the world, and is the reason Pride exists the way it does today. So yeah, lighting up a bridge in different colors means something. It's a middle finger to erasure. Looking at you, DeSantis, and a reminder in 7 different colors that pride is very much alive and always will be, no matter who tries to stand in the way.